Hello everyone, Dr. Polaris here. In this last video of my Notosuchians series, I'll be covering the notorious Sebecosuchians. This lineage of hypercarnivorous terrestrial predators thrived in late Cretaceous and Cenozoic South America, successfully competing with medium-sized theropod dinosaurs in many cases. Possessing xiphodont teeth, elongated laterally compressed skulls and erect limbs, Sebecosuchians spent their entire lives away from water. This is suggested by the location of the nostrils at the very tip of the snout, as well as notable muscle attachments on the femur, indicating prominently terrestrial lifestyles. The powerful jaws were built for tearing and slicing through flesh, instead of the clamping grip bites of modern crocodilians. Originally thought to have first appeared during the late Cretaceous, the discovery of the massive Razanandrongobe in Middle Jurassic rocks of Madagascar challenged this idea, seeing as the animal was recovered as the sister genus to Sebecosuchians. This suggests a much earlier point of origin, diverging at least 167 million years ago, most likely in Gondwana. In fact, Notosuchians as a whole have a very poor Jurassic fossil record, with the vast majority of lineages appearing suddenly during the early Cretaceous in South America, Africa and Madagascar. This contrasts with phylogenetic studies, which point to an early Jurassic divergence with their better represented sister clade, the Neosuchians. Clearly, a very significant portion of both Notosuchian and Sebecosuchian evolutionary history have yet to be described, with many more Jurassic genera waiting to be found. Hopefully, future finds from across former Gondwana can help to fill in these intriguing gaps in the fossil record. The most basal group within Sebecosuchia are the Barinasuchus, a family that first appeared roughly 85 million years ago and seem to have been endemic to South America. The poorly known Pabweshi from Maastrichtian age deposits of Pakistan has sometimes also been placed here, although more recent studies have considered it to be an indeterminate Sebecosuchian instead. Aside from a couple of basal genera, Barinasuchus could be divided into two subfamilies, the Pisarachampsinae and the Barinasuchinae. The former were named after the genus Pisarachampsa, a late Cretaceous genus native to Brazil during the Campanian and Maastrichtian. About the size of a large dog, this carnivorous animal is known from a holotype consisting of a near-complete skull and partial postcranial remains, giving us a good idea of its life appearance. The skull was relatively short for a Sebecosuchian, with greatly enlarged caniniform teeth in both the upper and lower jaw. These would have been utilised to puncture the thick hides and vital organs of its prey, including smaller Notosuchians such as Sphagosaurus, rodent-like Gondwanatheres, and perhaps juvenile and hatchling titanosaurs. Pisarachampsa laid eggs like all pseudosuchians, but unlike modern species, it seems to have laid its eggs in large communal nesting grounds. More unusually, Pisarachampsa appears to have been a K-strategist breeder, as the nests contain only 4 and 5 eggs each, when compared to the 80 or so laid by modern Nile crocodiles. Thus, it is likely that it was more extensive in its parental care than modern crocodilians, and invested significant time and energy into raising its young. The Barinasuchians appear to have been more common and diverse, with up to 5 genera being described and named. A good example of the group was the genus Aplestosuchus, another animal known from a relatively complete holotype. Dwelling in the Adamantina Formation of Brazil between 83 and 72 million years ago, this up to 2 metre or over 6 foot long predator was a robust ambush hunter of smaller prey. Evidence of direct predation comes in the form of the remains of a small, indeterminate Sphagosaurid found in the stomach cavity of the holotype, forming this individual's last meal. This fact gave the genus Aplestosuchus its name, meaning gluttonous crocodile. A close relative, also known from the Adamantina Formation, was the larger genus Stratiotosuchus. The diversity of these predatory Notosuchians in late Cretaceous South American sites is notable when compared to the lack of smaller theropods in the same environments. It is possible that Notosuchians managed to outcompete these animals in terrestrial carnivorous niches, pushing modestly sized theropods into more specialised roles, such as the Ununlagian dromaeosaurs. Stratiotosuchus measured approximately 4 metres or 13 feet long, and appears to have been the apex predator in its environment. Possessing powerful jaws and an erect quadrupedal stance, This animal probably preyed on smaller Notosuchians and juvenile titanosaurs of the genera Aeolosaurus, Gondwana titan, and Adamantisaurus. Another large Brazilian form was the genus Barinasuchus, a powerful terrestrial hunter and scavenger about 3.5 to 4 metres long and 400 kilograms or 882 pounds in weight. This genus was found in fine sandstone deposits, which were interpreted as a floodplain area in a hot and arid climate. Barinasuchus was likely able to dig holes for finding water in the dry season, or, like modern alligators do, for thermoregulation. The strongly bent pterygoids suggest a powerful bite and that Barinasuchus could close its jaws very quickly. The skull and tooth morphology indicates that the biting strategies of Barinasuchus were similar to a Komodo dragon, which include ambushing the prey, biting it and pulling back with the serrated blade-like teeth. Barinasuchus likely played an important role in its ecosystem, competing with the Abelisaurids for food. Barinasuchians as a whole are known to have survived until roughly 72 million years ago, although it is possible that the group may have persisted until the end of the Maastrichtian, only to die out during the KPG extinction event. Despite their association with South America, Sebecosuchians possessed a much wider range. Some lineages survived into the Cenozoic in sometimes quite unexpected places. An example of this were two Middle Eocene European genera native to France, Germany, Spain and Portugal. One of these was Barinasuchus, an approximately 1.5 metre or 4.9 foot long hunter represented by only a single incomplete snout, a few partial lower jaws and some teeth. Native to the dense subtropical forests of the famous German Basal site, this genus was the largest terrestrial carnivore in its environment. Despite being fragmentary, the jawbones are enough to indicate that Barinasuchus had a short, deep, narrow snout and serrated teeth. This has been suggested to be a specialisation for hunting large-sized prey items by imparting more powerful bites at the very tips of the jaws. Potential prey items would have included the early horse Eurohippus, the perissodactyl Hyraceus, and perhaps juveniles of the flightless bird Gastornis. A closely related and more widespread genus was Iberasuchus, native to France, Spain and Portugal at roughly the same time, between 44 and 37 million years ago. Twice the size of Barinasuchus, this animal is known from very fragmentary remains consisting of skull elements, teeth and osteoderms. Capable of hunting any of the larger terrestrial ungulates with which it shared its environment, Iberasuchus was possibly the most massive terrestrial carnivore of Middle Eocene Europe. Both of these genera were not closely related to the South American Sebecosuchians, making their origins somewhat mysterious. Their lineage must have diverged during the late Cretaceous, although no related forms have so far been found, with Barinasuchus and Iberasuchus appearing suddenly in the Middle Eocene. It is possible that their ancestors originated in Africa, as another Eocene Sebecosuchian, Eremasuchus, is known from Algeria. All of this suggests that Sebecosuchians have a long and complex history in Africa and Europe that, at the moment, is still poorly understood. The most derived family within Sebecosuchia were the Sebecids themselves, a group of ambush predators once thought to be endemic to South America. However, the discovery of the genus Notosuchians in 2020 helped to change this view, and heavily complicated our understanding of Sebecid origins. Native to the Maastrichtian of Spain, Notosuchians is the oldest, smallest and strangest member of the family. Before the naming of this genus, it was thought that Sebecids originated in Paleocene South America, and that they evolved there in relative isolation. Known from a partially complete skull and associated post-cranial remains, Notosuchians was an approximately 1 metre or 3 feet 3 inch long animal that possessed a fairly short snout, erect limbs and a powerful bite. The holotype was uncovered at the remains of a sauropod nesting site, suggesting that Notosuchians died in the process of nest raiding, with the genus inhabiting a somewhat badger or wolverine-like ecological niche. Eggs and hatchling dinosaurs probably formed only a minor part of the animal's diet, with small mammals including multituberculates, as well as lizards probably comprising most of it. The discovery of this confirmed Sebecid in Europe poses many questions regarding the origin of this family, with Notosuchians likely descending from African ancestors that island hopped into southern Europe during the late Cretaceous, much as abelisaurid theropods are thought to have done. So far, no confirmed Sebecids have been described from Africa, although very partial fossil material has been assigned to the group on occasion. It would be in South America, however, that this family would truly thrive. The oldest known representative on this continent was a modestly sized 2 metre or 6.6 foot long Zulmasuchus from the early Paleocene of Bolivia. Inhabiting the tropical forest that blanketed this region, Zulmasuchus was a dog-like ambush hunter that preyed on contemporary reptiles and early meridionculate mammals. In fact, it has been hypothesized that the diversification of Sebecids in South America at this time was due to the extinction of the Barinasuchus and non-avian theropod dinosaurs at the KPG boundary, as well as in response to the rapid evolution of herbivorous mammals. As their prey expanded in size, so did the Sebecids. The later Paleocene and Eocene Argentinian genus Sebecus was notably larger, measuring up to 3 metres or about 10 feet long, and is notably well represented in the fossil record. Almost complete skulls are known, which demonstrate that Sebecus possessed a fairly elongated skull, complete with blade-like xiphodont teeth adapted for cutting and slicing. Like living crocodilians, Sebecus would have been able to deliver an incredibly strong bite, with the jaws able to close with great force, which, when combined with its knife-like serrated teeth, led to a very bloody death for its unfortunate prey. The late Paleocene genus Barinasuchus was even larger, measuring up to 4 metres long, and was capable of tackling any of the Notoungulates with which it shared its tropical environment. However, all of these would pale in comparison to the forms that emerged in the more open conditions of the later Cenozoic. The truly enormous Barinasuchus first emerged during the Middle Eocene in Argentina roughly 37 million years ago and proved highly successful, persisting in Peru and Venezuela until the Middle Miocene circa 11 million years ago. The holotype consists of a partial skull representing the tip of the snout, which indicates a total length of about 6 metres or 20 feet long, and a body mass of at least 1.5 tonnes. This made Barinasuchus the apex predator in its environment, competing with the forest rarkid terrorbirds and dwarfing the largest carnivorous sporacodonts. In fact, this genus was among the most massive terrestrial carnivores of the Cenozoic, rivaled in size by only the biggest representatives of the similarly South American Pleistocene bear species Arctotherium angustidens. In a sense, during its period of relative isolation as an island continent, forest rarkids and Sebecids continued the predatory Archosaurian legacy of the Mesozoic. Another notable genus, Langstonia, also persisted into the Middle Miocene of Colombia about 13 million years ago, but is known from quite scrappy remains. The living animal is thought to have been roughly 2.5 metres or 8.2 feet long, and inhabited a wet and humid ecosystem that seems to have lacked forest rarkid competitors, with these avian predators preferring drier and more open environments further to the south. It's probably the apex predator here, relying on partially forested conditions in order to ambush its prey. At this time, northern South America was covered by an extensive system of lakes, rivers and swampland, which supported a diverse array of megafaunal mammals. However, the disappearance of the system of large rivers of the Amazon lake system and the gradual uplift of the Andes Mountains caused major ecological changes in South America in the mid-Miocene. The last known Sebecids were the apex predators in their environment, and as a side effect of this they would be particularly susceptible to ecological changes that caused other lineages, including many meridionculate groups, to die out. With their prey base highly reduced, alongside drying and cooling ecological trends that brought the Miocene climatic optimum to an end, Sebecids were gradually pushed into extinction. It is currently not known when these animals finally vanished, with it being speculated that some members of the group may have persisted in Brazil until the Miocene-Pliocene boundary circa 5 million years ago. Regardless, these persistent predators were the youngest and longest-lasting lineage of Notosuchians, successfully competing with theropod dinosaurs during the Cretaceous and capitalising on their demise. Sebecids, and Notosuchians as a whole, are a reminder of the sheer adaptability of pseudosouchians. Able to persist and find their place in a mammal-dominated world, we can now only imagine how intimidating these ferocious animals would have been in life. Thanks for watching, everyone. The next episode will cover the continued development of paleoart during the second half of the 19th century, when ideas about dinosaur life appearance began to change drastically as more complete specimens were uncovered in North America. See you again soon. Cheerio.